better to take a small manageable loss where you can trade the next day than to take such a big loss that you're blown up for the week.
And then just stick to your process. It's as simple as that. And to be honest, I feel like if more people understood that you stick to your process every single week, even when you become a master at that process, if you stick to that process and still do what you do best, we're going to have more than only 10% of stock traders be successful.
What is up, everybody? Hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to the Next 10 Traders YouTube channel. This is episode 5, and that means we have been in this channel and recording for officially a month now. It is the beginning of July. We're looking to start off strong. It is our favorite time because we get to look at all of the monthly recaps from all of our favorite traders. Today, we're going to talk about our week and how our personal mindset is going. Then we're going to get into the listed and OTC market conditions and seeing what is up with those. Then we're going to get into our trades and some notes that we took. After that, we're going to have a bit of an open discussion, just see what comes up in conversation. And then we will go over our plans for the current week, and Zander will wrap us up at the end. So Sam is going to start us off with how his week is going. So Sam, go right ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So this week has been really good for me, both like mentally and then also getting things done. The really big change that happened this week is that I finally got an account that is funded over PDT. So this coming week, I'll be able to, thank you. I'll be able to, for the first time, trade over PDT. So this weekend, I've been, learning DAWs Trader for a new platform, and just kind of getting familiar, watching a lot of videos, and get ready to trade. So yeah, this whole week, been setting up for that, moving funds around. So I didn't take any trades this past week. But I took one paper trade we'll talk about later. But yeah, my mentality's been really good, made some really big improvements. I've really kind of dialed in and focused in on what I'm going to be focused on moving forward. And I think that, that's mainly just because, hey, we started a new month, so I think everybody's kind of in that season where they're dialing in, they're looking, doing some self-reflection. So I feel really ready to go and excited for the next month. So yeah.
Yes. Cool. Yeah. So for me this week, I've just been all over the place in terms of like my focus, I guess. But I'm really excited for the future because I know that I just need to follow the MIC process, and I'm going to be ready and going to be ready for any perfect setups that show themselves, and I'm just going to execute them. So I know like any struggles we have going on, like we're going to get past them. So just keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
I guess I'm going to go next. This week has actually been really great for me. My confidence is getting up. When I'm entering trades, my nerves are getting a lot better than they used to be. I made 3 trades this week. I'm just finding out the setups I like and what I don't like. So just trying to get better every single day. I don't really have anything else to say. So Alex is going to go next.
So I think by now I can say that I got used to this time zone. However, that does not mean that I like it or I don't hate it. I'm just trying to make it work. And also in the last episode, I said that I got kind of lazy, but this week I think I got a bit more disciplined and I made some improvements. Also with the trading, besides having 2 trades that I will go over, I made some big emotional change that pushed me forward. And that's when preparation met opportunity. And lastly, I want to say that even though in the last few episodes, I was talking about how I want to transition towards listed, I decided not to, at least right now, because I found like a new way of trading the pattern that I was always trading, which are OTC breakouts and first green days. Well, I was always trading them, but I wasn't looking at them in the perspective that I do now. So I really want to focus and tune on them. I just don't want to have other listed patterns. They're just gonna mess up with my mind. But that does not mean that I will abandon listed stocks. I will still track them and find all the criteria. But while with OTCs, I have kind of intuitive approach. But with listed, I want to have more like a specific, like a solid approach. So I need time to track like all the patterns. And one point that I wanna make is that with OTCs, I'm fighting my finding my edge while I'm trading them and seeing what works, what not. But with listed, I want to just track them and see what works, what not, and only after that I can like trade them. So therefore, right now I will be focusing mainly on OTCs while just looking at listed until I can find that edge.
Absolutely,
Nice.
absolutely. What's up, guys? I'm James, back. I know I haven't been in the last couple of videos, but luckily I was able to make this one. This week was pretty good. I did my first 2 trades, trying the first bounce setup from MIC. I'll go over those later. It was pretty cool. It was awesome. I found out that I'm unable to short since I didn't know you have to be 21 to short. I'm going to try to find some type of way to be able to short, but I have no ideas at the moment. But this week was definitely good. Definitely a good confident booster. I haven't traded for at least a month, I believe, like a genuine trade where, you know, I had my lines, my risk, get everything set up, just because I've been learning the MIC process and life's been a little busy. But luckily I'm able to go ahead and be back part-time in the market. I'm able to watch Wednesday and Thursday the entire day, and then at least an hour and a half every single morning. So luckily I'm back in the market. I'm glad to be back.
Let's talk about the OTC markets this week. So we had a few runners, especially we have a few multi-day runners that I've been watching for a few weeks, setting up for potential like second leg moves. Some of them still didn't happen, so I have them on watch for the next week. But there are a few like RGVP that they had the first green days. We have a few first green days actually, so we're watching for the continuations the next week also. Other than that, morning panics and first green days or that hold still not working here, like based on my trackings. So we'll just adapting to the market, and as I always say, trade only the breakouts. So yeah, that's all I do.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, well, listed market conditions this week. It was kind of crazy this week, really. It was a really trappy week for short sellers. You know, we had MRIN, which just caught everybody off guard. I mean, if any of you are on Twitter, I mean, you saw some of these top traders who are posting, you know, I blew up this amount or I lost crazy amounts. And I think, you know, when you get a squeezer like MRIN, some people are genuinely like just unlucky, but I think it also kind of reveals a lot of people's lack of risk management. And so tapping in with a market like we had this week, you really need to focus in on having good risk management. You need to know at every time you enter a trade, where will I stop out? What's the worst case scenario? You know, not oversizing at the wrong points, you know, not being, you know, impatient and trying to get in early, you know. So weeks like this week with, you know, a lot of squeezers, I think it, you know, it just shows the importance of having that risk management set in. But yeah, it's definitely a bullish week. The short sellers had a much more difficult time. It was, you know, really nail and bail. You know, everybody in MIC, they do that anyway, but it was really nail and bail this week. The longs had a little bit of an advantage. Harry Haas, he's a really great trader. He was banking this week. So, you know, if you're on the long side, this was a good week for you to kind of get back at us short sellers a little bit. So, but yeah, leading into that, you know, I will go over one of my trades that I did. Let me pull this over. Like I said, I was switching funds around. So, oh, there we go. I was switching funds around, so I didn't have like crazy amount of trades. But I want to share this one paper trade that I did. And this is just a perfect example. Can you guys see my charts good?
Yep,
Awesome.
you're good.
All right, so this is just a good example I want to explain of this market this last week was nail and bail, where you know, this one was a really low volume stock compared to the day. This was on Friday. So MRIN had done its major squeeze on Thursday. And then on Friday, everybody thought it was dead. You know, a day 2, MIC called it like a low hanging fruit, and it was just going to kind of fade away into oblivion. But it shot up again and squeezed out a lot of people. Alex Temez, even, he's one of, you know, the owners of MIC. He's an amazing trader. He's got really good discipline and everything, but he even got caught on MRIN on Friday. I think he lost like, what was it, like 78,000, I think? Is that right, Zander?
68, 78, it's one of those.
Yeah, something
one of
like that.
those.
So it's just an example of being really, really cautious. So on this one, my point in that is oftentimes on these death candle setups, I will let it kind of fade down longer and I'll just kind of hold like, until it stops me out. But on this trade right here, what I did was I saw this support level here at 8. And one, it's, a whole dollar, half dollar number, which is really, really key. On the day of, it was also a pivot line at like 8:02. And then obviously you can see the support here that it formed from the pre-market action. So oftentimes, like I said, I'll let these fade, but because of market conditions, that's why you guys need to pay attention of market conditions. Because of market conditions, when it came down to this 8 line, I was like, I'm not getting greedy. I'm out. I want to lock in full. It was like $1 a share as my entry was right up here. And so I just locked in. I didn't get greedy. I didn't try to go for a crazy home run, even though this was already a great trade. And so you always want to have the market conditions in your mind. All week long, I'm seeing these stocks squeeze and shoot up. I'm seeing these amazing traders getting stuck. So for me, for all of us as new traders, we need to be even more careful than they are because they have experience on their side. So for me, I was just like, all right, this is my line, holding it out, walking away with the win. So on this is a very classic death candle setup. And it's even more ideal for me personally when it goes through VWAP. So obviously you see this pre-market action, it comes up and, a lot of people are thinking this might be like, the hot chick of the day, one of the biggest runners. But it broke down pre-market here and just completely failed through VWAP and chugged along and made a support line. So for me, I wasn't even watching this. We were watching a trade that Zander actually took. I'm sure he'll get into that later. And I didn't have my eyes on this until I saw it start to drop right here. And then this death candle through. And that right there is confirmation to me. After you have the breakdown of this pre-market highs here and you just break down this little, it's like it's wanting to go up. It's wanting to try again. And then it can't. And it stuffs there on the highest volume of the day at that key level. Coming right across here and it rejects. So to me, that signal of the trend has completely changed. I want to get in on the pop. So broke through VWAP. I saw this $9 line, which was a whole dollar half number cutting straight across here, with that support, this kind of channel that it did there. And I just felt good about it, nailed it, top ticked it. And then, like I said, just kind of sold a little bit quicker and was all out on that. So that's my trade and, kind of the market conditions. So I'll pass it on to the next guy if he wants to go over his trades.
Yeah, I'll go over my trades this week. I've only taken 2 because I decided to save a day trade for next week. And on Friday, I didn't see anything good enough taking. My first trade was not MRIN because I avoided that. Good. Stock selection real quick. Stock selection is super important. And picking not super popular stock is important to me. Like MRIN, if I were to short that, even if it was broken, would have been non-niche. Same thing as AMC. Like after an AMC first red day, I still would be super hesitant to short it because, I mean, it's kind of scary. They're more unpredictable. More people are watching, and that means more people are shorting this second red day, for example, and so more likely a short squeeze can happen. So I just like to avoid those stocks and focus on ones without that much attention, which BSQR, I played this. This was a sympathy to MRIN, but I played it right before its run. Like, as you can see, I was playing it when it was broken. And so you have this broken day 1 setup where it just runs up pre-market and then it's under VWAP mainly the whole time. This was a good short right here because it creates this little support line, and when it pops the support line, it reverses. And this was a great setup. But something I found actually with my group of traders in MIC is that low volume pre-market could actually be like bad because it doesn't trap that many longs, and that means like tons of shorts are in, but no longs to hold it down. And so it has a more chance to squeeze like this. But anyways, into my trade, let me go to the 1 minute. This wasn't, I really like how I executed this trade. Like, it's awesome. So what I did was, broken day one, I'm watching this for a pop to view up on market open, especially after it broke this other support line right here. I'm watching it, it pops. I don't think I didn't get in there because it wasn't to view up yet. But then once it popped to view up, I got in because I was patient for it to get there. And once I got in, I started covering that support. So right here, I covered at this kind of support area. And then I covered another at this support area. And then I covered for another wash down. And then at this point, I had most of my shares out, but I was holding a little bit. I was holding like 10 shares, like only like 20% of my position for an all-day fade, where the stock fades all day and I get like a huge home run on my last small amount of shares. And I literally top ticked that, just noticed that. And I almost bottom ticked it basically. That's pretty cool. But what I really like is the stop. And that's because I'm adjusting my stop as the trade progresses. I'm adjusting my stop to where my new thesis is proved wrong. So as it's moving down, my thesis on this last bullet was to hold for an all-day fade and home run. And I didn't want to take a loss on this just because, I don't know. What's the point of like hurting my green P&L just for a little home run? So I actually covered it before. I had my hard stop before my average was broken. And so that was awesome. This was a huge, it's what MIC calls like a life candle, where it's the opposite of a death candle, like Sam was just talking about. So a life candle, you look to long, you don't look to short, and this volume, that it's a get out indicator. Luckily, I had my hard stop already in, and so I got out exactly where I wanted. But yeah, that was awesome. Now, moving on to ATHE, my biggest loss, which is only $20, because I'm sizing small until I am confident that I can execute the MIC process flawlessly, I guess. This was actually a really good setup. So basically, MIC calls it the death line setup. It's where a pre-market gapper runs and then creates a key support level. And so once this key support level breaks, it should be like the stock should just be done, because there's so many people, like so many longs trapped in this area up here, and there's like, it's just like a jump off a cliff. So once it broke this death line, which I was looking at too, but it also reacted to 195, which was this support down here, a little wick. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there was a little support there. But this was the technical death line. And so once it broke it, I was looking to short it on a pop, and my arrows are kind of junk. But so I got in on this pop. I slammed it because if you're really, so it didn't pop how I liked it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm being greedy over 2 cents. I just need to get in now. So I got in. I don't know if I executed this trade well. I probably didn't. My mind was pretty cluttered actually, because at first I had orders to short up at these lines because usually it would like stuff those lines because of the trap longs. But then I changed my order because it was a washout long. It dipped to the support and then started ripping it. So I was like, I'm going to cancel my orders. So my mind was just all cluttered. And I should have avoided it, but I had already located. They were kind of expensive locates. So I was like, you know what? And then it played the deathline setup eventually. And so once I did, my first entry was good, because usually these things all day fade after the deathline break. But once it reclaimed, I should have just stopped out there. But I had my hard stop over view up, which was bad. So a lot of people said you're kind of mixing two theses. With the deathline setup, you do not want to reclaim and hold at all. And you kind of want to, like 2, which is where I'm holding it right now. Like this is 2, and then this is 195. I should have stopped out like 210 or 205. Like it would only be 5 cents better, but that makes a big difference when you're on a $1 stock. But anyways, like just adjusting your stop to where your thesis is invalid, that's good. And don't mix 2 setups, because I was like, oh, well, it could reject view up too. Like that's a whole different setup. So, you can't mix 2 theses. Go with the one you're in and base your risk off of that. So even if it would work next over PET, of course, I could just re-enter and play that thesis and execute that thesis, and that would be great. But I can't do that. So under PET, I need to either use smaller size and have wider stops, or use bigger size and tighter stops, which in most cases, I'll probably choose the second option because that'll be the best growth if I focus on the right stocks and the right setups. So that's pretty much my week. Actually, I'd like to get a shout out to my own video that I'm going to be posting on my YouTube channel. I'm going over all of June, my whole June recap and my plans for July. And so you can probably click that right there. It's probably popping up. But yeah, we can move on to the next person.
Yeah, something I wanted to comment on with both of Zander's trades, and you guys can go back and look at his charts. But if you notice, both of his trades, they were good setups. He had good entries, and then he stopped out where he stopped out. But the thing is, when he stopped out, like on his first trade, with that last remaining 10%, like 10 shares, and then on this one, when his thesis was invalid, look at the chart after he stopped out, right? Like on what was it, BSQR went like running way up.
Both of them squeezed.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like if he would have been, hard-headed, where it's like,
Stubborn.
oh no, I'm right. My thesis is right. I'll add higher. I'll move my average up. He would have been screwed. And that's what a lot of people do is they add to losers. They're too prideful. They want to be right. They combine theses, all these things. But take a note of what Zander did with both of his trades is he had risk management, just like I was talking about with mine and with market conditions. When you have risk management, you live to trade another day, right? And if he wouldn't have had those hard stops where he put them, both of those stocks went way higher and he would have lost so much more. So props to Zander for the risk management. And for anybody watching, take note of that and realize it's better to take a small manageable loss where you can trade the next day than to take such a big loss that you're blown up for the week or whatever it is.
Yeah, for sure. And another key note is do not change your thesis while you're in a trade that has a different thesis. Like, do not do that. And you might think like, oh, I'm going to move my hard stop here, but that's a different trade. So just stick to your original plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to add here that Zander, he admitted that he was wrong and the market was right, because the market is always right, no matter what thesis you have. Yeah.
Yep, true.
Absolutely. Love it.
Awesome. You guys good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Great analysis. Great job, Zander. Good job adding Sam and Alex. I'm going to go over my trades now. I'm going to go over HVBTF first. Alex is going to hop in with me because he made basically the same trade. So I'm going to share my screen really quick. Here is HVBTF. This was in the middle of this day right here. This was on Tuesday. It got news that it was uplisting to NASDAQ starting on Thursday. This was the first screen day. As you can see, I drew a line here for this support level. I'll talk about these two lines more in a second, but so Alex and I, we entered right up here in anticipation of the high day break, but apparently I can't learn my own lessons from episode 3 when I talked about entering on main intraday support on AOII. I made the exact same problem, not entering on intraday support, trying to get in near the high of the day, and it was the exact same lesson as right now. So third time's the charm. I definitely have that in my memory now to wait for intraday support, which is actually crazy because that intraday support level was right here. This was resistance that later became support. Came over here and it bounced right off the damn support level right there. And then our plan was to hold overnight. Obviously, this didn't work out how we thought it would, but the optimal entry would have been in here after confirmation bouncing off of this support level. I would have had a small risk on this since it was a really slow mover here at this 263 orange line right here. And as you can see, the next day is when the move actually happened. And as you can see, the lines are still relatively intact. Like the lines are still in tune with the price action. And then the run came late day, the next day on Wednesday. So the lines were still intact here, like entering here off this level right here when volume started coming in leaves nothing but green skies ahead. So Alex and I were just a little bit early on this. I learned the same lesson to enter on that intraday support level. Definitely not going to make that mistake again. So Alex, you can add whatever you need to right here.
The reason why I entered here is because it was already into the power hour. So on your trade on LYY, that was like more like that was at 2 p.m. I think. So here, and also see it has like the trigger here for like 15 minutes consolidation to 74. And as we said, it was a slow mover. We expected it. Like we weren't like expecting a big move into the close, but of course we didn't expect this because it literally gave all the gains in 5 minutes that it was like having it was accelerating here, like getting here from all this time for all this midday. Literally in 5 minutes you'll dump right there, and you actually exited before me because I stuck to my
I
risk.
did, yes.
Yeah, stuck to my risk and exited a little bit below. Yeah, here. And also I want to add, so I added this stock to my mistake journal, and I said that
Same here.
the two lessons that I learned here is that if you so if you see this kind of stock here and you see the, so at that time we didn't see the 2665 support, we didn't even look at it. But like if you look at it, you have to either wait for further dip. So if you wait for the dip, then that means it can go without you. We have to accept it. So you have to have like this risk, and if it actually happens, then you're gonna have more like risk reward, or you have to enter there and just accept the risk. Yeah, and just have like maybe a smaller position.
Well,
but yeah.
Well, once it breaks out, can't you just get in on the next dip? Because if it is gonna actually like really break out, then you could just get in on the dip, and that would be like the best risk reward option. You just risk the dip not working out.
Well,
Are you referring to a specific time frame or just in general?
No, like just like so you guys bought there because you're like, okay, I accept the risk of like this is a good entry because it's gonna happen or it's not, and I think it's not gonna, like, I would rather get in now than just wait for a dip and it fail. But why not just wait for it to actually already break out and then get in on that dip?
Yeah, I see, because this is exactly what I've been learning. I've been learning to buy before the break, like before the break, because you're gonna have a better what is the price? Yeah, of course.
Right, but
then if we miss this action, then we will buy the dip. If we miss the action, then we can continue.
Right, but does your win rate probably goes way down when you get in early instead of waiting?
Well, I don't know about that.
It all just depends on the price action, but we knew this was going to be a really, really slow mover, so we were preparing, I mean, to swing this overnight and most of the next day. But when it broke our risk and we realized it was downtrend, yeah, I definitely see what you're saying, Zander. But
and also,
yeah, this is the trade that we had.
So as you said, I had the news about the uplisting to Nasdaq. So it was on June 29th, and the uplisting was scheduled on July 1st. So we're gonna we were thinking about playing it as a buy the rumor, sell the news, but I guess it happened too early. I mean, we thought it's gonna happen too early, but we just thought it's gonna move into the power hour, and then the next day we're gonna have like all the people buying. Yeah, well.
Right, and that's exactly what happened on the next day.
Yeah, the next day.
Over here, and right after 2:30, when the volume started coming in. So.
Could you go to the 5 minute and look at the day that you traded it? Because this helps sometimes when identifying the more key lines. Like, I want to see.
Oh, dude,
your 5 minute right here.
Your middle support line was so perfect.
Yeah, I know.
I know that was the one.
I mean, if you got in, I would understand if you bought in at 2.7 as well, because that looks like a good level as well. Like if you got in on that dip, but apparently it didn't work and it reacted to the 265 level.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we were just looking for the 265 level because it was resistance here that became support here, so it was more credible for the bounce off right here. Same exact lesson as ALYI in episode 3.
Yeah, so. I see what you guys did. What you're referring to with getting in before, in kind of anticipation of the break.
Yeah, you'll see in my next trade.
Yeah, and I also see what Xander's saying with waiting for that confirmation to buy the dip. But I think the thing, it's okay to get in anticipation for the breakout. But when you do that, both you guys have learned this, obviously. But when you do that, you have to be getting in at support. Because if you're getting in when it's not at support and you're anticipating the move, then you're just asking for it to dump on you, your risk to get hit and you to go out. Yeah, so if you're going to get in before, you've got to get at the support level.
Yeah, because at that time we thought the support was 270 and the 74 was like the
Yeah.
trigger. Yeah, we just
Yeah.
didn't see the
Right.
65.
Yeah, and since
I
it
see
was
what
already
it
into
is,
power
yeah.
hour, we thought it was just going to run more
Yeah.
into the close. But
Mhm.
that same key lesson as I learned before on AOII, resistance becomes support, bounce off of it right here.
Yeah.
So even though it didn't run up very much, it's the principle of the setup. So
Yeah, and with
yeah.
buying at support, you can get super tight risk. Like if you wanted to buy at 2.7 and literally risk like 2.68 or 2.69, like you could get incredible risk reward.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I drew my risk line here at 263 right here off of this previous resistance right here. I should have made it here, but that's
Oh,
besides
I
the
kind of
point.
like that risk level. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it right here. So that's where I drew it. Yeah, so now we know for next time. So I'm going to go over my next trade. Alex is going to add on to HBVTF when he goes over his. So my next trade was on Blinn. I traded this on Thursday.
Listed
Crazy
market.
volatility. Let me go. Listed market. Yes, sir. My last two trades were both listed. Wait, this is my wrong time frame. Where's my? Okay, here we go. So I traded this on Wednesday. This was extreme choppiness. Here was the first spike up, and then under VWAP, and I was looking for the VWAP reclaim. This one I was stalking, and it failed right here. My entry could have been better here, but I wanted to make sure that there was confirmation that it was actually going to break this level right here at 619 and not just stuff again back under VWAP. So I wanted to make sure that there was that confirmation. So I entered here. I got in at 616, right on this candle right through VWAP as the volume was coming in. It was super choppy up here. I was my goal was to sell in the 640, 650s. Not obviously, I didn't anticipate it breaking a new high a day, but somewhere over this level right here at 644. But it was super, super choppy, as you guys can see, just going crazy doji candles everywhere. So I ended up exiting at 635, taking a small single. It was like 3.1%, $12.33 gain, whatever. And so, yeah, that was just a small gain. As you can see, it left some more opportunities, but this stock was just way too choppy. And yeah, so if I traded it again, I actually missed the main meat of the move, which was the next day on Blinn, which was this was Thursday. And so the main moves right here, I had my lines, and this was like a hold your risk and trust your setup kind of play. Analyze your profit goal as it goes. So yeah, that was Blinn, just a small single at that adds up. That felt good. Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
So basically, I just have a lot to say about this because I see everyone play these kind of things in MIC. So I talked because when I first joined MIC, I was long and I was wanting to play VWAP reclaims. And so what I asked Harry was, what were his ideal entries? And what he likes to do is buy in at the support. Like again, because right here you're buying at 6.2, which is the previous resistance. So that's where the stock would stuff. So what I would have done is notice that this stock is continuously making higher lows. And so what I would do is
here and then here and then here.
Get great risk reward and then sell at 6.2 and sell. And I love how you planned on selling at 6.4, 6.5, because that is a resistance where the stock would likely stuff again. And that's what it did. It had kind of like almost a death candle there. But yeah, and then I kind of want to go into something. Go to the next day and look at that intraday chart.
Yep.
This is another thing MIC teaches.
Let me zoom out.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. So
here we go.
I didn't even realize this. This is picture perfect. Zoom in. Yeah, zoom in that area, kind of.
Here.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. So as you can see, right at 10:30. It zombies, and that's what MIC teaches. Like the volume dies. So as you can see, from like 10 to 10:20, the volume is just dead, and that's kind of when you want to keep looking for these zombie potentials, making higher lows, and that's kind of like one potential entry. But another one is when volume picks up, and right at 10:30, it's over VWAP and it's making higher lows and it's deviating from VWAP. So deviation is like when it goes away from it. And so VWAP is here and the stock is slowly getting farther and farther away. And that's what MIC talks nonstop about. Like you want to get in on the dips on when the stock is deviating from VWAP after 10:30, and then it has volume, as you can see. So I just wanted, I saw that and it looks picture perfect. I didn't even realize this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I liked what you said about the higher lows, but the thing is, you guys short broken day ones, and you guys are looking for all day faders sometimes. When these stocks are under VWAP, it's really hard to tell if it's going to recover and go back through VWAP, as you guys show so many times on your setups. So I usually wait till VWAP, like you said, wait for deviation. Like right here, I could have entered here, I could have entered here, could have entered here, could have entered here. Right. Yeah. So this was the next day. I missed the big move, but I took advantage of a small move that I was ready for, and that leads into my next trade, which was on SQBG. I traded this on Friday, so I did not pull the trigger at all on any of the front side of the move because I definitely thought I would be chasing. The stock is crazy volatile, gets more exhausted from VWAP every single time. I mean, I had my lines. I could have gotten in here. I could have gotten in at any one of my lines, but it was just going more insane and more insane. Now, I was kind of in a state of shock. So I was like, I'm going to capitalize on the backside of this move somehow. I was like, I missed the entire front side. I'm going to capitalize on the backside here. So my favorite setup for the backside was the bounced off VWAP. I used really, really, really small size, like $350 because of how volatile the stock was. So I was in here after when the volume was coming in after on the bounce off VWAP. I was in at 1969. I should have held longer, but this stock was just crazy volatile. And I don't know why I didn't hold longer to sell up into here, up by this line here. But I just sold pretty quick. It was like a 2.75%. I was out at 2023. So this was just actually I bought it was a 3-minute trade. So I sold in this red candle right here. Actually, the arrow just can't point there. But so since I missed the whole front side of the move, what I need to get better at is focusing on the main strength of the move and not trying to find like other small complements to that big part of the move. And once I select the right trades and once I make the right trade selections, I'll be able to capitalize on the massive front sides like on SQBG and Blinn and have it work out better for me in the long run than waiting to focus on a smaller percentage on the backside move. So once I figure that out, that'll be really great for me. So does anyone want to add anything about this before I come back?
Something you did really good on this was in MIC we talk about front side short requires front side cover. Yep. And it's the same thing for longing. Backside long requires backside sell. And you did that perfectly, nail and bail. You're not thinking, oh, this is going to reclaim 26 and it's going to go on another run. No, you're like,
oh,
okay,
no way.
This is backside.
I was so scared, dude.
Yeah, you identified that it was backside, so you're like, okay, this is backside. Let me get in, get out real quick. Let me see if it works. If it doesn't, then whatever. You probably have a hard stop in.
Yeah. I did. I had my hard stop at 2020. So that was
nice.
So, I mean, not 2020. Not 2020. 1920. Sorry. I was in 1969.
Yeah,
so 1920 was my hard stop, which was like right here, right near the bottom, perfect. Right actually near VWAP. So that was a good spot for my hard stop. But yeah, like you said, this was a nail and bail. I knew that it wasn't going to be a big move. I knew it was backside, but small single on this one, it was like 2.75%, like $9.71 gain. But whatever, I'm not focused on the P&L at all. I'm focusing on making good trades. And so yeah. And then I just have some quick notes, and then Alex can go after me. Sorry, I know I'm taking up quite a bit of time, but so something I was focusing on, especially this week, is it's better to focus on 4 stocks and nail one of them than to focus on 10 and miss them all. That has been something the past few weeks for me that has been absolutely like I needed to get this in my mind because I have like 15 charts over one monitor that I'm always flipping through, like 4 OTCs, and I have like 10 listed up, or yeah, whatever. 4 OTCs, 10 listed up at a time, and I'm always like flipping through them. But yeah, it was just critical that I focus on a lesser number and nail one of them than to focus on more and just completely miss them all. So that's something that I took notes on, especially. Also, for advice to anybody else out there who's trying to find what setups they like, always keep reviewing the content that most fits your trading style, and whoever you follow that trades most the way you want to trade, pay the most attention to them. Like we all have so many mentors that we all love to watch. No matter who it is, I can name like 20 off the top of my head right now. But whoever you like the way that they trade and you think that would be a good setup for you, put the most attention into their content. And Sam said a few weeks ago, when you study, you need to make it quality over quantity. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to sit at my computer for 10 hours. I'm going to watch this video. I'm going to take some notes. You have to make sure that you can learn every single minute of your studying, saying, what can I learn from this? How can I make myself a better trader in this setup or in these future setups right here that I'm trying to trade? So yeah, that's one thing. And also, like Alex was saying earlier, he makes a mistakes journal. I also do a mistake/daily lessons journal every single day. I think recording the mistakes that you make and recording what you can do better helps you so much in the long run. Like every single day you can look back at it. Like I look at my daily lessons from before, the day before, every single day in pre-market, just so I can remind myself what I did yesterday and what not to do today or how to make myself better. So having a mistake/losses journal is just is a great thing to have. So that's all I got right now. Alex is going to go on to his trades right now. Sorry I took up too much time, but Alex, go right ahead, man.
So the first thing I want to say is not based on the price action. Before this trade, I hadn't been, I think for 2 weeks I didn't have a single trade. I missed like 20 trades. And I chose the slowest stock in the market because I thought they like have news, because I think last month there was one stock that they had like a good gap up. So I thought something like that. I even asked Kyle in the chat and he didn't like it. So I think it was more of like a forcing trade than like a executing mistake here. Because like looking back, this wasn't even a good trade to take in the first place, because even though it was a good first green day, but the news based on the recent first green days with the same news, they weren't working as good as they used to. So yeah, and you can see that I like even though I saw the level 2, it wasn't that good here. I still I think this was actually a good thing that I did, because I stuck to my risk. So if I had the risk at this level, then I would have held, I think. But since I had it on the different, I just messed it up here. So yeah, that's the only thing I want to add, because I already talked about everything. And next trade.
Yes, MDMP, go Alex, go.
Okay, wait.
Look at them lines. Look at them beautiful lines.
Wait, something happened. Okay, so also I want to
look at those first bounces.
I know, it's beautiful.
Okay, wait. So I want to say one thing. So in the beginning, when I talked about the OTC market, I said that I only trade OTC breakouts, but I did not mean like only breakouts. Of course, I trade first green days, but I don't trade them the way that I used to, meaning holding overnight. I just trade the intraday moves. So yeah, of course, I can take so see here, it was /first green day that was first green day / breakout, and the same thing on the previous trade. So first of all, I want to say that MGMP, if you go to the daily chart, yeah, it was a big mover here. And I remember this day. I missed everything here. Everything. I haven't made a single money. Yeah. I remember I was watching the first green day, then the second green day. So
man. Yeah.
Yeah,
those were the days.
No, I almost made $500 that day, but stocks and trade crashed. Seriously, I was watching my trade recap video on it. I would have made $500 that day.
So
This episode is not
dude.
sponsored by Stocks to Trade.
Nope, it is not.
So
sorry, Alex.
we can see that was like almost 5,000% mover. Ridiculous. So right in the morning, I saw someone in the alerts. He was like MJP, something like tweet or something like moving, and I was like, oh, I remember this stock. I remember it's really good. So right in the morning, we can see it had this big move, and I didn't play anything here because at this point, like when it spikes from, okay, if we look at the percentage, when it spiked in the morning, that wasn't that big, but I still didn't want to chase. On this place, I just wanted them to have those spike and then just settle all midday, because that it's gonna prove that they can hold themselves. Because if they just spike and die, then it's just a random mover. So it's better to avoid those. So let's go where I bought it. So all midday I had my plan, and the trigger was 17.5 here over the previous high before the high day. So right here, I think I wasn't at home at this time, but I got home somewhere here, and Sam is not here. Sam H. He actually bought it right here.
16-2. He was insane. I don't know how he did
He
that.
bought it right there, and I wasn't watching it because I had my trigger above, and I had, I think, the alert, so I wasn't watching this stock. But then when I saw the first move, zoom in here. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. So when I saw the first move, then I waited here for this little trigger here, and I had my risk. The risk wasn't very clear here, because if you risk down below 16, that's a huge risk. So I was just risking like the failure. So if it doesn't spike, then I'll just cut it. So I think about 17.4. Yeah, I got in here, right here. Yeah, I got it right there. And my risk was just failure. Yeah. And then I got this first push, and then when we got this, no, actually this push, yeah. And then when I got right here, I was a little bit scared, but I was still, because the bigger picture, it was going into the power hour, perking with the volume, so everything was there. Then I think Sam, he exited somewhere here because he had a better position, the better entry. So if I were him, I would have also exited here. And then one thing I told him is that if I were under the PDT, I mean above the PDT, I would have sold half here. Yeah, I would have sold half here and then held for the next big move. Well, it doesn't matter under or above the PDT. I mean, if I had a bigger account size, so the commission doesn't matter.
Good idea.
I was just holding through this, and you can see this beautiful wedge forming here. I remember I was also talking with Garik, and he said that in this market, it's better to play it safe. So he said you have to sell in the next push, and he said don't care if it goes to 22, and it went to 22, 23 even. And I didn't say about my, so I exited right here after the first push, after here at 1990. Yeah, right here I exited, and when I exited, I absolutely did not care wherever it's gonna go. Like, did not care, even if it went to $1, because I took my middle of the move, and I don't care what happens next.
That's good.
No matter what, yeah. And I also drew these lines, and you can just see how technical analysis. Look, resistance becomes support here, resistance becomes support here, wedge breakout here. So like bow style, I think he would have just bought every dip and then sold it here. But that's it. So yeah, we wanted to talk about this trade with Sam because I was also curious about why he bought it here, because why he was watching like this time. I was very curious, but unfortunately isn't here. But his entry was the best. Like, because this was literally the best entry of 16.2. Yeah, and he also took the mid of the move, the same percentage. It's like he had like 14%. I took like 10%. So yeah, that was a good trade, because before that, on that day, I was reading in the morning. I was reading the daily trading coach, and one of the lessons were, before the market opens, sit yourself comfortable and imagine executing your trades, like your plans.
Yep.
That was right after my forcing trade. So that was the next day into the new month. So I was like, everything's clear. No matter what happened the next month, the previous month, I was all like my mind was all clear. So when I saw this action, I was like, I missed 10 of them, maybe even 20 of them. So this one, I will take it. Like the preparation meets meeting opportunity. So I'm very happy for this trade and happy for a good start for the month.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love this trade.
great trade, Alex. That was an awesome trade. And can we just make a note on how perfect these lines are? Like
I
Zander said
know.
earlier, look at all those first bounces. Look at how perfect those lines are. And I do want to say something. How you talk about Garrick said, "Don't worry if it goes to 22."
Mhm.
I was watching this. I forgot what it was called. It was an interview with a market wizard. I forgot what his name was. What was his name?
JJ.
JJ.
No, his name wasn't JJ. He's not a market maker, but it
Mark
said
Douglas?
something about Mark. It said no, it wasn't Mark Douglas. I don't know what his name was, but it said something about. I'll have to look it up later. But it said something about market wizards, and he was saying before and after your trade, you should not. Okay, so when you're in your setup and when you're out, you should not care what happened before or after your trade. All you should worry about is when you clicked buy and when you click sell, and not worry about what you missed, because then you'd be like, oh no, I missed all this move, and then maybe next time you try to open your risk more and you try to aim for a higher profit goal, and it could end up turning back on you. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah,
So
that's really good.
other than that, I didn't have any trades, but I have some missed trades. Yeah. So I'm not gonna go deep on them, but they were just missed trades on MJWL and ENF. So that was the only ones. Yeah.
RGBP2.
Well,
RGBP when the news came out. Yep.
well, let's see. Actually, I want to talk about this one. Yeah. So this one I was watching these days. So look at this. So it had the first move. Then it actually wasn't perfect because it did not hold the half of the spike, but it was having this wedge here. And then I was watching for the push, but it happened too quickly. So I don't know what it was too quickly here. So that's not a mystery for me. Because I don't know what like it happened too fast, too sudden, too quick. Yeah.
That's hard to get in. You got it.
Like,
when you hindsight, you can look at that and be like, oh crap. And if you really were like watching this, stalking this and ready for it, and you could have executed but you didn't, then that's a mistrade for you. But hindsight, looking at it's like, oh, obviously enter there, but it is definitely hard unless you're really focused in to be able to take those trades like that.
Yeah, because it wasn't even an ideal setup because it broke down too much.
So, yeah. No, and this was a mistrade for me because I found it right before like 2:30, before 17.5 when it broke that high of the day. That was a major mistrade on my part. I was ready for it too. I discovered it early and I was just like, I can't tell you why. I honestly don't have an excuse. So, all right, so James, what do you got for us?
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen first, and then I'll start talking about it.
Awesome.
See real quick. You guys can see the screen?
Yep.
All right, I'll go ahead and start then. All right, guys, I'm going to go over 2 trades I had this week. My first one is ORPH, trying the first bounce strategy from MIC here. What I noticed on this trade is it ran up very well pre-market, and then it had, a nice little consolidation. So I immediately saw resistance here, and then it came support here. So I knew that's kind of where I wanted my entries to be. So I created 2 orders at 8:30 and 8:20. I nailed them both. Right here, the reason why I got in at 8:20 right here is just I wanted to scale in 10 shares, and I saw this increase of volume right here. So I thought this one right here, I thought it was nice, and then it started running up, and I sold here at 8:56. It worked perfectly. I loved it. Nothing too specific on it. I nailed it, and I didn't watch the stock for the rest of the day. To be honest, I didn't see anything else. I nailed that, and then I immediately went to studying for the rest of the day because I got my one trade in, so it was gorgeous. And then on Friday, I traded TAT.
Nice job, James.
And then TATT right here. I really wanted this one to work. What Xander was talking about earlier, I prefer larger size with lower risk instead of smaller size and bigger risk. Um, I don't know why. That's just something I prefer. And to be honest, I mean, the lines were great here. I had my lines here at this resistance right here. I got in at both of them, but what I didn't realize is this big stuff right here. If it sure, I mean, the stuff happened. If I believe if the stuff would have happened with over a few minutes, like if this happened with a few candlesticks instead of one giant stuff, I think my trade could have worked. But it was one giant stuff, one wick all the way up to the top, high of day, shattered all the way down. And that should have been that should have been my notice, this is it, the stock's over. There's no trade. But I didn't realize that. So I got in, didn't do what I wanted. So I got out here at 9:15. Just because I didn't see it going anywhere. And then I was looking at it to see potentially a VWAP reclaim. It did right here for less than a second and then shot straight down. And I knew the day was over. I wasn't going to waste another day trade this week. It was really great for my education. I don't have huge size, so I only lost like $5 on it, $10 maybe. But yeah, those were the two trades this week. I think I learned a lot just from these two trades, and I was able to trade them and then go back to studying for the rest of the day and watch the market. But yeah, that was my two trades for the week. Another trade that I really wish I got into. Let me go ahead and pull it up here. One moment. CUEN.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I was talking to Harry Haas about this one. Oh my gosh, it was just we were going back and forth because for some reason, I kept asking him where his lines were, and I didn't see him. I don't know why, but I didn't see him, and we were going at it back and forth, and I was
I
just
think
like,
you got
Harry,
enough lines now.
right? because these are with pivots too. Let's see. Yeah, the reason why there's so many lines on this one is just because I was playing with it. After market, but right here I was asking him, I was just like, hey, why did you enter CUEN? Like I don't get it. Like what was the whole point? And if you look at it right here, this niche right here is 100% picture perfect to what they're looking for. It ticked right here, and I was just like, why was that your entry? Why was 7.6 the perfect entry for you? And he showed me. He was just like, dude, this is the niche. I will trade this stock 110% of the time. And he nailed it perfectly. He sold up into this big candle, and it was gorgeous. So this is one that I've missed that I wish I traded, but overall it was a great week, and we're just preparing for the next one.
Yeah.
Great job, James.
That's awesome. James, you want to go back to your first trade real quick that you pulled up there?
RPH?
Yeah.
Right here.
I want to say, I love what you did on this one, where you played perfectly line to line. And that's what a lot of people have a hard time with, because, they get greedy after they're in and they want to hold forever, or once, the stock comes and hits their line, then they're like, oh no, I'm too scared, and they don't enter the trade. So on this one where you played line to line, I think that's really, really awesome. And going over with Lance was saying earlier about like your executions, it's like a lot of people have a really hard time with their executions, and they'll get all up in their mind, they'll get mental, and they're not ready when it's time. But it's like, you were watching this, you saw the stock, you liked it, you had your thesis on it, and you executed your lines, which is absolutely perfect. So I just wanted to comment because I see like so perfectly just line to line on this. So props for that.
Right. I appreciate it. And this one, the reason why I sold, shoot, you could say I sold early. I think I sold perfectly because I knew it was coming up on high of day. And I think I was afraid of the stuff. I mean, you can see the wick. Sure, it broke through, but to be honest, that's still technically a little bit of a stuff right here. So I sold right before high of day. It stuffed. Sure, I left a little bit, but I mean, I'm not upset with it at all. I think I executed everything perfectly. So yeah, I do appreciate it. It was a good trade in my opinion.
Yeah, James, I like that because usually they don't do a massive high a day rush right at the open anyways. Usually it happens later in the day. So the fact that you recognize that it was right under that pre-market resistance level, that was awesome. Awesome job by you right there.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate it. And then, I mean, it just, it failed the rest of the day. So I didn't even watch it, but yeah, thank you guys. I do appreciate it. But, we're getting on for the next week and getting prepared for next week.
Awesome, man.
Very cool.
Zander, you have something?
Oh yeah. So I'm back for a second. I just wanted to say, I had an idea for Lance. Since you were talking about like not like only focusing on a certain amount of tickers and not spreading your focus too wide, and an idea that I have is that since you want to play OTCs generally in like the first 30 an hour, you could focus on OTCs for like the first hour, but then move to listed after that. And that's because the edge in shorting for listed is before 10:30, and longing there's still edge for sure, but a lot of the longing edge is after 10:30 in the listed markets. And so you could go from OTCs and then trade that in the morning, and then go to zombie hours after 10:30 in the listed market, and then go back to OTCs for power hour. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah, Zander, I love that you said that, because I literally made this own schedule out for myself a couple of days ago. I was like, okay, from market open to 10:30, that's my OTC morning setups. VWAP reclaims usually aren't successful before 10:30 anyways. So then I'll look at my listed plays from 10:30 until I go on my midday break to go work out. And then when I come back, I'll see if there's any listed late day breakouts or any last minute reclaims or anything before OTC power hour comes up. And then power hour comes up at 3 p.m. So I was just making that schedule for myself, knowing that I'm looking for my setups, and I have setups that I could do any time of the day. And once I get better at all of them, then I won't be like limited to a certain time frame. So I made that exact schedule. I appreciate you for adding that in there.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see your future trades on like VWAP reclaims. Like the general, we're talking about this in the future, of course, but like the general criteria that I look for if I was longing is, low float, lots of volume in the morning, like the float is rotated, and maybe it's hovering around VWAP, or even better if it's hovering above VWAP already, looking for the zombie moves I'm talking about, or even you could play the VWAP reclaims. But if it's hovering VWAP, or maybe it's a little bit below, you're watching it, you're waiting for it to reclaim or show some kind of deviation from VWAP, and then you get in on the dip, risking like a tight risk. And like that's the criteria you're looking for.
Yeah, definitely. And after it breaks VWAP, sometimes they're not usually straight parabolic after VWAP. Usually, like earlier, how we were talking about, there's those higher lows and those dip entries. And if I want to, I can scale in on those entries above VWAP and then have a wise profit goal, have my risk set, a hard stop for listed stocks always. I'll never trade a listed stock without a hard stop. So yeah, I thank you, Zander. I appreciate you for saying that, man.
Awesome.
But I did have one thing to say before we go into our plans. We ran a little long, so we're not going to have a big open discussion. We're just going to go into our plans for the week. But I do have one thing to say. I saw this quote on Twitter a couple times this week, and I've seen it in chat rooms. I've seen it everywhere. It's that I can't stand when people get into a trade and they say, entering here, let's see what happens. Like, no, that's complete bull crap. If you don't have a specific risk level, a specific profit goal, a specific setup, when you're in a trade, you should know exactly what you're looking for and where this stock is going to go. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to enter in this stock. Let's see what happens. Because then it's gambling and you no longer have a setup and there's no edge there. So that's just something I saw multiple times this week. And I said I had to make this a comment in the episode, because I just can't stand when people say it's a bunch of BS. It's, oh, let's enter, we'll see what happens. No, you have to have an exact plan, know exactly what you're looking for, exact risk level, and you have to be disciplined. If you're not disciplined, you're going to blow up, and then it's even harder to get back, and then you're going to start revenge trading, and then it just leads into, it's a very slippery slope. It's just going to be leading to downtrend, and you're going to be rolling like a snowball down a mountain. So that's just something I wanted to add quick.
Yeah, so true. And like with that, it's, there's a difference between having like just this like, overconfidence. Oh, well, I know what the stock's going to do and all that. It's, you never know exactly what it's going to do, but you have to have a plan for no matter what it does. You need to know where you'll stop out, and you need to know where you'll take profits. And just like Lance said, if you don't do that, you're not trading, you're gambling. Go to the casino, actually stay trading, give us your money, keep some more volume in the market. But you're just gambling, and what's really the point? So that's a really good note.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
All right, leading into plans for this coming week, I'll go ahead and start us off. For me, obviously, I'll be trading for the first time over PDT. So, you know, I want to be really careful. A lot of people, when they kind of have the chance to flex their wings, they kind of explode and try to do everything at once. So for me, I'm really going to do what, you know, MIC says was KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I'm going to continue trading the way that I have because it's been working really good. But it just gives me the opportunity that, hey, if the setup's there, if it's on the day, I can take it and I can have flexibility to add or cover as I will. So I just really want to just continue doing what has worked for me, you know? So this coming week, I'm going to up my discipline. I want to start, you know, this week up or, you know, this month strong as I already have and as we all have, and just follow through with the discipline, what's been working, and, you know, not stop. So that's my plans for this coming week.
Yeah, awesome, Sam. I just want to add something really, really quick. Since you're over PDT, a lot of people when they pass PDT, they start wanting to size up a bunch immediately. And I love what Zander posted for his video that he's going to post on his YouTube channel. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to watch it. But it was a technique that James Freelander does in MIC, where if you have a green week, that's when you size up 20, 25% of your size. Instead of saying, oh, I'm over PDT, it's time for me to flex all of my 25K and make a huge risk level that I'm not ready for and playing with size I'm uncomfortable with, and then gives me a lot of possibility to blow up. But like Zander said with James, and how if he has a green week, he sizes up 20, 25%. And then if he has a red week after, he goes back to that size that he was at before, and then it's business as usual.
Yeah.
See, and that's the disciplined approach that he has. And that's something, when I read that, I was like, oh, awesome. That's a great freaking idea. I'm going to apply that to my trades once I start making more and getting more comfortable with that. So yeah, I love what James or what Zander put that James said in MIC for his way of sizing up after green weeks and red weeks. So I just want to add that in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, Xander's going to go next for his plan for the week.
Yeah, so my plans, I mean, so like I said in the beginning of the episode, like these last 1 to 2 weeks have been like mind clutter. Like I'm like, what setups do I focus on? Like, okay. But my plans for next week and for forever, hopefully, I mean, I'm just gonna focus on looking for the good setups that I like. When I see a good setup when I see one, like I'll know when it's a good setup, and I just want to execute the MIC process on it. I know the MIC process, and I'm good at executing and following my plan. So I'm not gonna overthink. I'm not gonna overthink like, oh, this isn't a death count setup. This is a blah. Like I'm not gonna just think. I'm not gonna think. I'm just gonna. I know what to do, and so I'm gonna follow the process, and we'll see how that goes. I think it's gonna do good.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm next. So I mean, I just want to branch off what Zander said for what I'm talking about. I'm sure we can all relate to overthinking right now, how we miss so many plays and we're just like, oh, if I didn't overthink, overanalyze. It's where we just have to see our edge, see our setup, and make the trade and think in a series of trades and not worry about what happened in that trade by itself. Stick to our risk and stick to our process like we were saying. So yeah, it's just, we all experience overthinking. We all do it every single day. But as soon as we get into more of that carefree state of mind when we're looking for our setups and looking for those trades, that's definitely something that I'm going to be focusing on this week. Just focusing more on getting better and recognizing my VWAP reclaims and my listed setups, and then also getting better at not worrying about commissions when looking to trade an OTC. I need to get commissions out of my freaking head because they're in my head, and Alex always tells me, and I know that he's right, don't worry about commissions. I'm like, I know, but it definitely plays a part. So yeah, I'm just focusing on getting better every single day, focusing on my setups and trading well and never worrying about the P&L, because if you trade well, the outcomes will show up for you in the future. So yeah, that's all I got for me, and Alex is next. So yeah, go ahead, man.
Well, I don't have such a long speech, but I'll just say that next week and next month, we're just going to focus on the pattern that I talk about, like the breakouts. I'm just gonna go over all the charts, like all the stuff, and I have one stock in particular, just one that is doing exactly the pattern that see. So IQST, so doing the perfect 15-day 50-minute chart right here. And yesterday, I mean on Friday, I was looking for the second leg up, but it's even better. The more consolidation has, the better. So I'm watching for this to have the leg up, the trigger. Like in the morning, it actually doesn't matter even midday as the trigger with the volume, and I'm just gonna buy it there, and with the risk of high day break. Yeah. So this is the exact pattern that I'm going to study for, I think, all the summer, because
Awesome.
then when the fall and the winter happens, this pattern is gonna be hot, as every pattern. So let's see. Yeah. And yeah, I have some other stocks, but this is the only main one that I watch, and yeah, there's nothing else.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, to be honest, guys, my plan is the exact same plan that it's going to be every single week because, in my opinion, no week's different. You study, you watch the market, you make a trade if there is one, and if there isn't one, you watch the market and you study. So, to be honest, I have the same plan this week as I did last week, and then the next 17 weeks to go, right. All I want to
Good
do, I
plan.
do want to add a couple things that we talked about earlier. I personally, I don't get the whole thing where people are trying to bet against the market. In my opinion, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I get out. And with
Yes.
with TATT, when I traded it earlier, I was wrong, so I got out. To be honest, there was not a single thought that ever has crossed my mind when I'm trading a stock that's like, this is wrong, this is wrong. To be honest, I don't know who drilled it in my head because I started off watching from Timothy Sykes, and that's a big thing he says. He says, "Look, you can't outbet the market." Every single person who says that, and I don't think I've ever heard a person say otherwise. And I think that was definitely beneficial for me because I mean everyone says that you can't bet against the market. And when I first started trading, luckily I never heard that you can bet against the market other than shorting. But I mean, it was just stuck in my head that if you're wrong, you get out. So that's what I think is very valuable that I do. Um, and then just stick to your process. It's as simple as that. And to be honest, I feel like if more people understood that you stick to your process every single week, even when you become a master at that process, if you stick to that process and still do what you do best, we're going to have more than only 10% of stock traders be successful because we all know Timothy Sykes says 90% of traders lose. And I feel like if everyone just stuck to their process, we would have 20% instead of, that not 10% winning. But
Yeah.
that's all I got for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Whoever's watching, go back and rewind what James just said for the past minute and a half. There's a lot of good content there about staying in your process. But yeah, I just wanted to say one thing, how he was talking about if he's wrong, he's out. But a lot of people, they associate right with wrong if they made money or if they lost money. They think if they made money that they're right, and if they lost money that they're wrong. And that is the complete wrong approach, thinking of greens and reds. You have to think about your setup and your risk and your execution, not about your P&L and your money, because that's when you get emotional. If you focus on the money, long-term success is not probable. You have to change your mindset to focus on your setups, your trades, and your execution. That is it, and the outcomes will follow. So
I agree.
Awesome.
I agree.
Yes. I love that. Absolutely. Well, does anybody have anything else they want to add to the episode?
no, I think we're good. Go ahead and close
We're
this
good.
out.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I love this episode. I think that we spent a lot of times on our trades this week, which I know for us personally is super valuable. This is as much for you guys as it is for us to, reevaluate what we do, how we think, and the process we go through. So I hope that this was as valuable for you and you got out, a lot from it as we did. So, thank you guys for watching. If you've got value from this, please leave a like. Let us know in the comments. Please don't hesitate. If you have, subjects that you want us to go over, if you have notes, questions, let us know in the comments. We'll address anything that you guys have for us. So, I'm really excited for the month of July. I want you all to kill it. So stick to your process, make your plans, have discipline, continue to learn each and every day, and don't give up. So, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week. Peace out.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.